Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast Sermondo Talks. I'm Christina and I'm here to introduce you to some of the smartest people in the Amazon sphere. If you're new to our channel and you like to get some industry insights, learn some expert tips that you can apply to your own business, and hear some interesting stories about entrepreneurship in general, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you will never miss another episode again. I don't want to keep my guests waiting, so let's jump right in and say hi to Suzan Hixon, who's the founder of the private label law boutique. Hi guys, what's up? I'm here with Suzan Hixon, who's the founder of the private label law boutique. She's based in Kentucky, the US, and will hopefully answer some of my questions today. Hi Suzan, glad to have you on.
Hey, Christina, thank you so much for having me on.
It's my pleasure. Can you tell me in just one sentence, what is the private label law boutique?
I sure can. So we help our clients create long-term wealth with their private label products by guiding them through the complexities of the legal landscape so they can grow their businesses securely and confidently on a daily basis.
All right. And what kind of services do you offer?
So we provide anything related to legal and private label. One of the primary focuses of my practice really is trademark law. And we also do supplier agreement negotiations, distribution agreement negotiations. We do label and warning compliance reviews to make sure that people's labels on their products are proper and compliant. But the really key core area of this practice is trademark creation, clearance, prosecution, enforcement, which is a huge part of it, and maintenance. I'm a big advocate of taking a very thoughtful approach in creating a trademark. And especially when you're at the stage of product selection, I really feel like they go hand in hand. And unfortunately, I feel like people sort of don't pay a lot of attention to it, right?
Yeah.
They'll unfortunately select a trademark that's descriptive of the product, which is a big no-no, or they'll pick a trademark. It looks like they threw out a bunch of Scrabble pieces and just grabbed a bunch of consonants and maybe a vowel because they thought they had to get a pure domain name that aligns with the trademark. So I try to help people find that balance. And
so you
really
advise on that, like in a consulting role also?
Yes, it's really important to find the nexus of a strong trademark from both a legal and a marketing perspective.
All right. And how long have you been around for with your firm?
So I've had my particular firm for about 8 years, and I've had the private label law boutique for just 3 years. So I've been practicing for about 15 years. I was with a big law firm for about 8 years, and then I said, this big law firm lifestyle is not for me anymore. I want to start my own law firm. So I did it.
Awesome. Do you have your own experience with selling on Amazon, or how did you decide to just work in the Amazon industry or e-commerce industry?
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, several years ago, I don't really know. I've always been a big book purchaser on Amazon, right? Like I have been purchasing books for years on Amazon. And I remember when I got out of law school, one of the first things I did is I sold some of my law books on Amazon because I realized, and this was years ago,
And they're super expensive to buy new, right?
oh my gosh, they're so expensive. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And the problem was at that time, this was about 2000. Let's see, I graduated in 2003. So around 2003, 2004, Amazon, I guess at that point they were starting to allow sellers, but most of it was, were books. And I could have taken my books to a bookstore on this. And they would have given me almost nothing for those books. You know, it was crazy. And I was like, wait a second, I'll just sell these on Amazon, right? So I sold them on Amazon. I was like, that was really cool, but I didn't really fool with it a whole lot. And then maybe about 5 years ago, there was all this kind of Amazon buzz. And I was like, you know what? This is interesting. I know a thing or two about, you know, business. I'm going to try to sell on Amazon. So I did. I kind of went through the whole process of private labeling my own product. It was a lot of fun. And it happened to be around Christmas. I first put my products up online. And I was so excited because boom, 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 they were selling. I was like, I'm going to be a billionaire, you know? And then after Christmas, it was like, and then I realized that people were just probably buying whatever they possibly could find. I don't think I had a great product. I don't think I did a great job at it. I think I just got lucky. But it was interesting. It was fun. And I learned a lot. But then I also learned that really, I'm an attorney, right? I'm a lawyer. And I realized that there were a ton of people who were kind of screwing things up that I thought I could help those people with those specific issues. And I could, you know, provide more value doing that. And that's probably what I should be doing instead of selling my own products.
So you transformed from being a competitor to someone who helps them.
Exactly.
Really nice. Really nice.
I don't think any of my products would have been too much competition. So I still like these little power banks. Yeah.
I was going to ask which kind of product it was, but
yeah, I sold some power banks, and I sold some of these really ridiculous cell phone holders. And I seriously still have a ton of both of them, are like around my office. When somebody comes by, I'm like, here, take a power bank. Someone, please, have my power bank.
I want to get rid of my inventory.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, but it was good. You know, I learned a lot. I learned about the platform. I also learned about the problems with the platform. And I really feel like that kind of helped me with, you know, kind of get into the space, and just having that familiarity with it is helpful. But I'm a big advocate, Christina, of not building an Amazon focused business, an Amazon centric business, because I think it's dangerous. Yeah. It concerns me from my perspective. And I feel I want people to build a brand, like focus on building a brand and a business that sells on multiple channels, right? Like people should have their own e-commerce site. People should sell on Amazon if they want to do it, for sure. Like it's a great place to test your products, but don't forget about other platforms out there. Right?
Yeah, I mean, there are also so many horror stories out there about accounts getting suspended or listings getting kicked out. And then if you don't have another sales channel, that's it. Maybe for months even. And then, yeah.
Exactly. It can be very, you know, you could have an IP complaint lodged against you, you know, and it be a very, you know, it could be an egregious competitor that does something to your listing, or, you know, a glitch in within Amazon. And that's why I'm just like, you know, it really makes me nervous when someone comes to me and they're like, I'm building an Amazon business. Like, no.
Build an e-commerce business and then
use
your channels. Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. So it's not that common that lawyers also have experience with selling on Amazon. So this is definitely a USP of yours. What other reasons are there to choose you over other law firms?
Well, there are definitely a lot of great law firms out there. And there are even more and more that pop up in this space. One thing that I really work hard on is excellent client service and responsiveness and quick turnaround time for my clients, and moving their trademark applications through the application process as quick as I can. I know that getting that registration, that trademark registration, is really important, especially when they want to register with Amazon's brand protection programs or record their trademark with customs. So time is of the essence.
Yeah.
And, and I get that. So I try to make my pricing competitive with other law firms. And one thing that is a little bit different about me is I am a small practice. I am a boutique practice. And when you hire my firm, you work with me. So if you don't like me, there you go. So, yeah. And, a lot of firms have, 200, 500 attorneys. So, it just depends on what people want. Some people want that really big firm that has the internal capabilities to do, all different areas of their business, right? And there are a lot of firms that do that. But I'm very, very specialized. And I like that because it allows me to really dig into the subject matter and kind of become an expert in that myself, as opposed to trying to do all the things, right? It could drive us crazy.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Are you working with clients from all over the world? So let's assume I'm a German Amazon seller and I want to start selling in the US. And I'm like, oh, damn, I don't know anything about law or whatever there. Can I come to you and you will help me?
One of my favorite things about my practice is I get to work with international clients on a daily basis. I love that. And I look at that as just being a bonus for what I do. So yes, I have clients from all over the world. I don't even think that I have a client. Oh, actually, I have one client in my state. And I have clients in Germany, Ireland. Do I have any? I have some clients in China, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, Canada. I have quite a few Canadian clients. So it's definitely the highlight of what I do, is getting to help these people with the Amazon channel. So, the interesting thing that's happened recently is that the United States Patent and Trademark Office now requires international entities to retain U.S. counsel. So that's a very new ruling by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So I think that's great. But yeah, I do work with a lot of different people from all over the world. It's fun.
And what do they say about your work? Could you tell me 3 things? Time to brag.
Yeah. One thing people tell me, I think this is really funny, is sometimes they'll say, "You're not like most attorneys I know."
That's good.
And I'm like, I think that's a compliment, right? I don't know.
I would take it as a compliment for sure.
Yeah, I take it as a compliment. I'm like, okay, thanks. So, and I think it's because a lot of attorneys are very rigid, and I try to be very warm and open. Another thing I think people would say is that I'm good at taking a very holistic approach when it comes to giving them advice, right? Like, I'm not like, you have to do, I mean, of course I'll say, this is the legal rule that we have to follow. This is the law. But I understand that there are businesses that you have internal business decisions. So I try to help them make those decisions based on a lot of different factors. And then I guess the last thing would be that I do try to be very cognizant about the budgets of young businesses. And I'm very, one thing I like to do is, propose kind of unique strategies for protection of intellectual property to help people avoid costs. I'm very aware of that. And I think a lot of times big law firms, like big firms, they work with a lot of big companies and they already have sort of a set aside legal budget. When you're working with small businesses, they don't have like the legal budget, right? Yeah. The fees that go to provide the legal services can be taken from some other part of their business, something that can go to marketing, right? So I like to tell people, to take a really big picture approach to all of this, does it make sense to enforce your trademark at this moment? Like, and it doesn't always make sense. There might be legal reasons to do it, but I understand that there are always business and financial reasons to do that. And I want my clients to always know that I appreciate that as well.
Super nice. What do you do when a client is not happy with your work for whatever reason?
I always ask, what could I do better? Right? I think that I can generally get clients the outcome they want. One of the biggest issues that I've had to deal with, and something I'm working on, is fees, right? Because most attorneys charge an hourly rate, and 30 minutes in 1 hour can be a chunk of money. Like, the difference in that can be a decent chunk of money, right? Like, the more you charge. And, I've had clients that have been like, oh, this legal bill just really kind of shocked me, and there's a couple of things that I've been working on internally. And one of them is doing more flat rate work, like flat rate proposals. And I do have that, for several of my services. I can't do it for everything because there's too many unknowns, but I do try to give a good estimate. And of course, like, I work with clients on, restructuring the fees if we need to. Most clients are, appreciate my time that I put into it. So that's really one of the biggest things, is kind of having that, like, I kind of hate sending out bills, right? Like, I'm always like, gosh, because I want my clients to feel that they got a value, right? And I'll write stuff off, right? Like, I'll give discounts and things like that, because, like I said, that it just adds up so quick. And hopefully the flat rate proposals for work is more palatable to clients going forward. And like I said, that's something that I've been working really hard on integrating, and I've been doing that for about the last 6 months to a year. So it's pretty new, but
I think that's also a major benefit then of working with you, that it's so personal, because big law firms, I mean, they have an own department, like the financial department, and they just send out bills like this. Yes. And you really take the time to sort of estimate the client situation.
Yes. And that's the thing, like, because I don't have a finance department and I don't have a marketing department or a collections department, right? So, I look at every invoice that before it goes out, and I look at it and I give it some thought. I'm like, did this person get this value, right?
Awesome.
And then if I'm like, that's just too much, like, this is shocking, I'll write it off. And, part of that is because it might have taken me too long to do something, for whatever reason, right? Like, or maybe it was a slightly newer issue that I hadn't seen before.
Or sometimes you just have a bad day or whatever.
You just have a bad day.
Yeah.
Right. You're just a little slower and you're not like on task. So that's one reason I think that the flat rates, fixed fees, is really becoming more of the way to go, because it incentivizes the service provider, me, to be more efficient as well, right? Yeah. So, I think that's really something people should think about when they are looking to hire a law firm to help them, is to make sure they really do understand the fees. Always ask questions. If there's one thing that there are no dumb questions, and no one should ever make you feel stupid about asking a question. Always say, well, what does this mean, right? Yeah. How does this fee structure work? And, when you have a time clock going, some people just, are more lackadaisical about their turnaround time. Yeah. So it's just something to think about.
Okay, great. Then I'm already at my last question for the part about your business. Here in Germany, like, laws and regulations change like every day. I'm pretty sure it's similar in the US. So how do you keep up with that? How do you stay up to date? Do you read blogs or do you subscribe to any newsletters? Or
yes. I subscribe to, there's one that I subscribe to called Lexology, Lexology, and I have it tailored so I only get trademark related.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so it's, you could get overwhelmed. You're right. Because, laws do change. Now, I will say that sometimes I feel like, because law is based on precedent, it does seem to change slower than technology.
Yeah.
Right. So, the world changes quickly, and, the laws are like, what's going on? Should we should we change this or that? So, an example would be the legalization of marijuana in the US for recreational and medicinal purposes, and the decriminalization of it. And granted, that's not directly related to my exact practice area, but assuming that changes so that it does become decriminalized, then there's going to be a ton of trademark work to do, right? So because the states, a lot of the states are kind of saying, we're going to legalize it anyway. We don't care what you say, federal government, which is kind of funny. There's, a lot of legal issues in each of those states when it comes to, legalization of marijuana. But it's one of those things that like you have to kind of stay on top of, because you think it's coming down the road. You're like, okay, it's coming down the road. So I do try to pay, I try to read, I don't read case law every day. I think I would fall asleep at this point. I like to read commentary about other lawyers. That's usually what I read, like a lot of blogs and stuff.
So you mentioned before that you worked previously in a big law firm and that it was not your kind of thing. I mean, you could have gone to a smaller law firm. Why did you decide to take fate in your own hands and become self-employed?
Because I love the entrepreneurial spirit. Like when I was working in a law firm, I got to work with a lot of big companies, right? And that was a great experience. They had robust trademark portfolios. There was always a lot of work there. They paid their bills, right? Like, so but then I got to work with a lot of, startups and, small businesses. I should say a lot. There was kind of a sprinkling in there, but I really enjoyed that. And I was like, I want to start my own business one day, right? Like, so I thought, well, you know what? Why don't I just start my own law practice? I know I can do this. And yeah, I knew that the corner office, with a big oak desk and the leather bound books, that was not for me. Right. And there's a lot of crazy politics that go on in a law firm, whether or not it's large or small. And anytime you wanted to implement a change or suggest something, you had to go through like, the partner above you and then the partner above them. And then, and there was always this like ladder to get anything approved and moving forward. And I thought, you know what? If I have my own practice, if I want to do something fun in terms of marketing, or I want to, change a policy, the only person I have to ask is me. Susie, should I change that policy? Should I change my fee structure? Yes, you should. So boom. That's how it happens. You can make changes really fast and when you have your own practice. And it's the same thing when you have your own business, when you're an entrepreneur, right? You can change fast. They say fail fast and be ready to pivot. And I love that. I love kind of that whole entrepreneurial spirit.
Love it. So then I have a small challenge for you. You only can use one word, one adjective to describe your work situation. Which one would it be?
One word to describe my work situation?
Yeah.
Thrilling.
Love it. Yeah, that's really good. Awesome.
It's actually pretty good for a law. There's not very many law firms that are really thrilling, right? I mean, but it's not me. It's just the work that comes across my desk and the people that I get to work with. And it makes it that way.
Awesome. Are there also things that you don't like? Maybe working too much or?
Well, one thing that can be really challenging is that I wear a lot of different hats, right? Like even though I have people that help me, there are certain parts that I do outsource. I still have to because I'm the only lawyer, I still have to like overlook each of those, and everything that goes out, everything that gets filed has to go across my eyes, right? So there can be a lot of work in that, because I wear the hat of an attorney. I'm the marketing person. I am the visionary. I overlook administrative, and a lot of firms have attorneys that will, they'll overlook each department. Even if they don't really do business development necessarily, they may overlook that, the marketing department of the firm. So I kind of do all of those.
So you have all the responsibility.
Right. I don't share the responsibility with any other attorney. So, and it's definitely something that I struggle with daily. I think, should I have a partner? And I already have like in mind some great attorneys that I would love to work with. You're also solo, but I'm like, whoa, I don't know if I want to take that on, because I am at that point where I try to take Friday afternoons off, right? And my weekends are my weekends. Like it is really, these days, it's really hard to get me to come in and work on a weekend. I will if I have to, like if there's an urgent deadline, but they're very sacred to me. And so
that's important to really get that separation between like work life and private life.
Oh, it's so important. I could not agree more. Yeah.
What excites you most about the whole Amazon industry? Is it, you mentioned that you love working with international clients, but what is special for you about having Amazon sellers as clients?
Well, I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and I love working with people who have that same entrepreneurial spirit, right? And I get to see a lot of that. A lot of these people, that's what they're small businesses, right? They're trying to kind of live like that American dream, like no matter where they are, right? Like they're like, I can do this, I can like start this business. And that's the other cool thing about it is that, sometimes I talk kind of bad about Amazon for several reasons, but at the same time, Amazon and just e-commerce in general has given this opportunity to a lot of people, right? To be able to kind of break away from working in a company and starting their own businesses. And I think that kind of that self-employed, but my parents were self-employed. So I've always kind of had that in my life. I love the fact that I get to work with people, and that e-commerce has allowed that, or has, kind of facilitated, the ability for people to do this. So I think it's really cool.
With less capital to start with.
Yes. And that's such a great point, Christina. This is one of the few kind of businesses people can start without major startup capital.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not by any means without risk, right? Like everything is a risk, but it's not like you're going to be, you start a franchise. Like some of the franchise fees in the US for businesses are crazy expensive, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you have to have a lot of that liquid. Yeah. So that's prohibitive to a lot of people.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I have the exact same opinion. What was your biggest challenge becoming self-employed? I am in contact, of course, with a lot of Amazon sellers, and most of them are like, yeah, right now it's a side business, but I don't know if I should do it full-time. Being self-employed is, it's a challenge. Which challenges did you face so far, if any?
Yeah, no. I think it's a challenge that I still like. I think as entrepreneurs, we like learning and we like doing and we like kind of discovering new things. And sometimes we get shiny object syndrome. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you see like, oh, I want to try out that new technology, or I want to try this new marketing thing, when you haven't really taken the time to kind of dig into one thing. So I found that to be challenging for myself, because I'm like, oh, I want to try something different, or I want to try this over here, without maybe, allowing, certain things to kind of percolate and see if they work.
Yeah.
That's been a big challenge. I think another big challenge that I see a lot of people face, and I've had the same thing, is cash flow management, right? A lot of times as entrepreneurs, our cash flow just, it's like a roller coaster. It goes up and down constantly. And it's something that I am working on myself, right? Because it's not like you're getting a paycheck every week.
Yeah.
Right? And then you have
Input equals output.
No, yeah. It's just, you might have Amazon hold your funds for some reason, right?
Yeah.
Or for some reason, you have clients that are slow to pay, and, it can get kind of scary when you're like, okay, I've got these bills to pay over here, right?
Yeah.
Or there's something you want to do with your business to grow, but you don't have the cash flow. So I think cash flow management is an issue for a lot of entrepreneurs, especially.
Yeah.
My advice in that, and I wish I was better at this whole situation myself, I could probably give better advice. But, I think one thing that's really important is looking into getting some type of like projection software. And I've been looking for that. So if anybody knows anything about,
Send Suzan a message.
Yeah. Hello, anyone can help me? I think it's a challenge for a lot of businesses, right?
Okay.
Because there are like if you might, for example, put a lot of energy in a certain quarter into one aspect of your business for whatever reason. And let's say that completely flops, you might not feel the pain of that for another 30 to 60 or 90 days.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's good, I think, to be able to, to have some type of way to manage your cash flow. And I think it's something a lot of people struggle with as entrepreneurs.
Yeah, definitely. Was there a time where you wanted to quit for whatever reason and just go back to working as an employee in a firm?
No.
That's good.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times that I'm like, oh, I wish I could just sit around and like, watch Game of Thrones and eat bonbons all day, right? Like, and do nothing.
Yeah.
But I know I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy, doing that. But I don't, I can't say that I don't have, I've had regrets in life. Leaving a big firm and being solo is not one of them.
Very good. It means that you're happy at what you're doing.
Right.
All right. So you said you would like to be able to manage cash flow maybe a little better. Are there also some other skills or characteristics you wish you had, but you don't have?
I do wish I was, I wish I was better at tech, like in doing my website stuff. Like I have to have someone do all of that for me, because I'm just like, ugh. Anytime I get into the back end of my website, I break something. I break a code, and and I think I know how to do this, and then I'm like, someone please come help me.
So you would like to be less dependent on someone else and just...
Yeah. But I know at the end of the day, it makes sense for me. That's the thing. There are certain things in our businesses that you have to say, this is not my zone of genius. Yeah. This is not even my zone of competency, right? Yeah. And in those situations, you have got to let someone help you. And I've been bad about that in the past, where I'm like, I'm going to do it all myself, or like, I want to learn how to do this. It helps to relinquish some control. And yeah. I have not been great at that. And I know that businesses can be more successful when they, allow the photographer to do the photography, right?
And the lawyer,
the social media person. Yeah, exactly. So you can't like do everything, even though as entrepreneurs, a lot of times we want to, or we want to learn. But at the end of the day, you got to think about, well, what makes sense here? Does it make sense? Like if you know that your hour is worth a certain amount, does it make sense for you to, be doing certain tasks in your business? And oftentimes it doesn't make sense.
Right. So programming or managing websites can feel like you have to have a superpower to do this. But if you could have like an actual superpower, which one would it be?
I would like to be able to teleport
Yes.
to anywhere in the world without having to, like, I would love to be like in that room with you right now in Munich.
Oh, thanks.
and like hang out and go get some coffee after this, right? Or a beer, because it's in the evening for you, or getting in later into the evening. I think that would be cool because I hate air travel. I used to love it, but I hate air travel these days. So if I could have a superpower, I'd love to be able to teletransport. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Teletransport.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, let's stick to unrealistic scenarios. Imagine tonight you walk into a bar and there's Jeff Bezos and he's like, you can ask me for one favor. Which one would it be?
I would ask him to help brand owners legitimately get a hold on the counterfeit issues on Amazon.
That's very nice. And
yeah,
super selfless. And it takes a lot of work from your plate.
Yeah, because Amazon, I caution anyone that I know that shops on Amazon, just please be very cognizant of what you're purchasing, who you're purchasing it from. Be careful if you're buying edibles or supplements or anything that goes on or in the body, because so many people, as you know, don't understand really how the platform is set up and how people can create listings, and then third parties can list against that listing. And they don't understand that when they're purchasing via Amazon, that they're not purchasing from Amazon. Amazon is just the platform to provide it. So they could be getting a facial.
To my mom.
Yeah. They could be getting a face cream, right? That has gone through temperature changes in someone's garage for 6 months.
Yeah.
So you got to be very careful. And I don't feel like Amazon is really stepping it up in that respect. I also wish they'd pay their taxes in the US. I think that would be great.
Yeah. Also in Germany would also be great.
Yeah.
They only do it in Ireland, I think.
Yeah, they're I don't understand honestly how it happens, or how they can kind of skirt the laws in the US or Germany and these places, but yeah, I think I'd ask Bezos that as well.
Yeah. Jeff Bezos inspires many entrepreneurs around the world to like reach for the stars. I mean, going from shopping books online to like the largest e-commerce platform in the world. I mean, that's something. Who or what inspires you for your work and your vision?
That is actually an awesome question. Who inspires me? I wish I could say, well, like if we're kind of going for this big vision person, I'm kind of a fan of Elon Musk. Don't judge me.
I don't. I think it's great. No, really.
Yeah, I love, he's such a visionary. He thinks big, right? But at the same time, like, he comes out with a flamethrower, right? I mean, but he kind of amazes me because like he has his SpaceX, he has Tesla, he has all these different things that he's working on. And I feel like the things, the ideas that Elon is coming up with are world-changing things, like world-changing ideas. And we look back on people like Albert Einstein and we're like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like he just changed everyone's thinking. There's so many amazing things about that man. And I feel like in 100 years, it's going to be the same thing with Elon Musk. So I enjoy reading about him and learning about him, and he's
and reading his tweets. He
he
delivers some good stuff for memes and stuff. So
yeah, Yeah, he's had some interesting tweets. So, but yeah,
he's an entertaining person. Let's put it that way.
um,
Would you also work with Elon Musk, or would you rather hire another famous person to work with you or for you?
oh, I'd love to work with him.
Me too. I think you can
Yeah,
learn just a lot.
I want to absorb his brain, because his
Yeah.
brain is really out there. He doesn't think like a lot of people, right? He has a very unique perspective, and I don't know if he's technically like a genius. I really have no idea, but and sometimes I feel like that whole genius, I scored something IQ, I have an IQ of whatever. I think that kind of stuff is, those types of classifications are kind of overrated.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right.
Yeah. All right, then I'm at my second to last question. If you had the attention of all Amazon sellers in the whole world and you could broadcast something for 1 minute, what would you say to them?
Attention, Amazon sellers. This is Susie Hixon. Or I could have like a megaphone. I would tell these people that I want you to be as thoughtful about trademark creation as you are about product selection, because Amazon sellers all over the world, your products are going to end up in a landfill. They're going to end up rusting away, but your brand names can last as long as you continue to use them, and they can grow in value, right? So don't treat trademark selection for your products as just some afterthought. Be thoughtful when you go through, be purposeful when you create your trademark. It's so important. Think about certain brands. I mean, we can list a bunch of German brands that have been around a long time, right? And BMW, probably the value of the brand name BMW, just the value of that intangible could be more than all of their tangible products combined. Yeah. And you think about what BMW does, not just on their vehicles, but their brand reputation, their the licensing that they do,
sponsoring events.
Yeah, their merchandise, like all of these things. So that people don't realize the importance of those brand names a lot of times, because it's so ingrained. Like we see Starbucks, but we don't really think about we don't think about that brand. We think, okay, I know I'm going to go in there and I'm going to get a certain type of experience. If I go into that store, it's going to be the same if it's in Munich or if it's in New York City. And, that brand reputation is so important, and people overlook it in private label. And I just, it's part of the reason that I'm so passionate about people creating strong trademarks is I want them to grow businesses that that increase in value over time, right? Yeah. And you can do that. The best way to do that is with your trademark, with your brand name.
All right. Then I'm already at my last question. So this was your first tip. Can you give me 2 additional tips that you would give to any Amazon seller out there? Could be about entrepreneurship in general, or also about selling on Amazon or branding. Stage is yours.
I think it's important if you are, I'm kind of giving this guidance from the perspective for people who do private label, right? And not necessarily third-party sellers, but for people that do private label, I think it's really important when you are selecting your products to sell to really think about a passion product, right? I know that there's all these online programs that you can do to see what sells and, how much, people are making and what the competition is. But I think something that's important to factor into this is, do you love the product, right? From my experience, the clients that I work with, the ones that seem the happiest, and most successful are the ones who are selling products for that are related in some way to something they're passionate about, right? Like a sport, or, you know, certain types of kitchenware, like if they love cooking, right? And then I have clients that do supplements, and they're really into keto. You know, keto. Have you heard of the keto diet?
Yeah,
So those are the people who they have a really. It's like they're not just interested in selling the product on Amazon. Like they are interested in sort of developing this whole like brand essence around it. So, you know, instead of selling something you're totally not interested in, if you're a 65-year-old guy and you're like, I really want to sell cosmetics to, you know, or, you know, foundation and lipstick and stuff, like really think, are you really interested in cosmetics? Like maybe some 65-year-old men are. I mean, I'm sure there's a few out there that are. Yeah. But do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's, be passionate
about your heart with the product.
Yes, I think that's important. And there are people that say that's not important. There are people that say go where the money is. But I'm telling you, in terms of a long-term business and people being happy, and it's not all just about the money coming in, like, you know what I mean? So I think the money will come. I just think it's so important to pick a passion product. So something they're passionate about.
All right.
And then I guess my second piece of advice would be get a mentor. As entrepreneurs, we like to do everything, right? Because we like figuring stuff out, right? And, you know, sometimes we'll get on the internet, we'll look around, what is the answer to this?
Yeah.
Right. But I think it's really important to get a mentor. And they don't have to necessarily know everything about private label. You know, maybe you want a mentor that has like a really amazing financial background, right? The point of it is getting sort of, and I don't even really want to call it a coach. It's a consultant, right? A business consultant or mentor. I think this is so important. And it's something that I just did about 3 years ago and made such a huge difference in my business, is getting my own. I think everyone needs kind of a mentor.
And you also feel more secure maybe when you have someone to talk to.
Yes. Even if you don't, it's just so good to have someone to be like, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, Z. What are your thoughts on this? What are the repercussions of this? And it doesn't necessarily work to go talk to our spouse, you know, our partners about these things, or our parents, right? You know what I mean? You need, I think, a mentor that can come at your business from a very different perspective. And my first mentor that I got is actually into branding and marketing. And she provide amazing. She's not a lawyer, right? Like I don't need a lawyer mentor. Like I had a lawyer mentor for 8 years who mentored me on law. And I'm like, okay, I really don't need that anymore. I need a business mentor. Like I needed someone that had a different perspective than me.
Yeah.
Having that different perspective, someone that might not really necessarily agree with you on everything, or that you don't agree with, is totally okay. But it's so great to have that person to bounce, you know, ideas off of. And also I think, Christina, another important thing is that accountability factor. Like if you have a conversation with your mentor and you all decide that you're going to do tasks A, B, and C, and you're meeting in 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but I'm like, I made good grades in school, right? I bet you did too. But I was like, I'm going to have A, B, C ready for her in a bonus, you know?
Yeah. So the motivation for this, yeah.
I don't want to let her down. Like I feel accountable. You know what I mean?
Proud.
Yes.
All right.
So yeah, I think it's something that no matter what level of business you're at, it's really important to have that. So.
All right. Thank you so much. Then we're already at the end of our interview. Thanks so much for the insights and for answering all of my questions. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you so much, Christina. It was a lot of fun.
Alright guys, that's it for today. That was my interview with Suzan Hixon. If you have any questions for Suzan or for me, simply drop your comment below. I also included some helpful links in the description where you can find out more about the Private Label Law Boutique and Sermondo.com. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, you can do this by either putting the subscription button here or this button here. And yeah, I will see you guys next time.